Sorry for the sound. So in this session today, it's a gift from me to you as we end the year. And I thought I would bring in a little bit of ritual based on my time in Nepal. And so what we do is we grab something from earth. So we have the crystals here, we have some amethyst, and we have some, it's slipping my mind. Yeah, great. So
Is
we have
it
some
quartz? Is it
no, it's like it's
Agate?
no, it's for abundance. Gosh. Well, it's gonna come back to me like a spur. So we have crystals, we have flowers from the earth. Then we have, or also rice. So the rice is something that in Nepal they do as offerings. Then we have candle because we're gonna bring in the element of fire. And then we have sage, which for you it can be incense if you have, or it can also be just the candle or anything that smells for the air component. And then water. So in the flower pot, there's water. Those flowers I just picked today from the garden, and there's fresh lavender and it smells really nice. So I thought I'd bring a little bit of that over to you. And then there's something else that I thought we could add to our altars. Now, feel free to do that at like after the call, or if you want to do it while we're on the call together, that's great. I brought in things that remind me of success this year. So I got this headband from a local store here, and it's made with my friend's aunt's sari. So like her sari, her Indian sari. So to me, it represents success because I made it to New Zealand and it's been a manifestation for multiple years. So that reminds me of what I've grown into this year. And I did add Marianne Williamson's A Year of Miracles book just because I thought maybe we could just intuitively, citrine, Bertha. Yeah, I think you're right. But I think there may be another word too. Anyway, maybe you're right. So maybe we could just kind of intuitively, you can tell me a number of a page and then I could just flip to it and we can read through it. I really just want this to be kind of a cozy experience for you. And yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with ritual. If you want to grab some stuff, you can. If you just want to use this altar for now, because this is ours, so it's great, we'll do that. We'll go into a gentle meditation then after we do the little ritual to ground our energies. It might just blend in with this altar stuff as well. And then I'm going to invite you to learn about the different states of trust. So I tuned into what would be helpful to help us manifest when we want to manifest without putting so much pressure on ourselves that we need to have it look a certain way. And whenever we feel like our energy is not in a manifestation place, like, do we really have to force a manifestation? And can we trust? And I'm going to bring in a little bit of what A Course in Miracles says about trust. And then you're going to walk away with your own trust recipe so that anytime you're wanting to trust and you're just in that place where you could use a little bit of guidance, you'll have your own recipe of, oh, right, what are my this plus this plus this, so that you know this is yours. These are your ingredients, and all of your recipes will look different. And then at the end, if we have some time, then I'll just share with you a little bit of the evolution of Claudia-Sam Soul Coaching for 2024. We're having a few little tweaks for expansion. So I thought if we have time, then I could let you in on that. Do you have any questions before we begin, or as we begin? Okay. When we do the rituals, we usually chant a mantra, but I'm actually gonna introduce you to something that I like to chant, and you can repeat it with me out loud in your head, as you wish. It's something I learned in one of the moon circles I was attending when I was living in Banff Alberta, Canada. And so it mixes the elements together. And so as I chant it, you can repeat it with me. And what I invite you to do is just let yourself be breathed, arrive in your body, and honor yourself, however, whatever that looks like. Okay. And so as I do that, I'm going to light the candles, the sage. And just, oh, FYI, this statue here is Shiva. It's a Nataraj. It, so Shiva dancing, stepping on a dwarf, stepping on ignorance, dancing, and that's the wheel of life around him. So this for me is very symbolic of flow, because we can step on the ego, we can step on ignorance and still have fun and be playful and joyful. So that is what that represents for me. Okay. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. The earth, the air, the fire, the water, return, return, return. Breathe in. And breathe out. We're bringing in all the elements, and as we're all virtual or virtual, I mean live or replay in this session, I see you. I advise not to burn down your house with these. Okay, so I have a little cup here that's made from ceramics or pottery that I always use for this. So I never will put it directly on, you know it. You got it. Okay. As we're honoring all these elements, it's like we're bringing in what's bigger than us, what's bigger than the human, what's bigger than the ego. And I invite you to bring in, as we're going to enter into our meditation, all the parts of you that you're honoring today, all the parts of you that get to be part of this celebration, because we get to celebrate the past year. We get to celebrate what's working in your life. We get to celebrate who you are. We get to celebrate and honor the wholeness that you are, just like all the elements get to contribute. There's not just one that's better than the other. There's not, let's say the flowers start to, some are getting old and they're not bad. They're just it's part of their evolution. So I want to invite all those parts of us into our time together. So I'm gonna see if I can, now you have both me and the altar, correct? Okay, great. Imagine your feet planted here in the middle of our altar, and maybe it will help for me to share my screen very quickly in just so you know what it looked like when we were in Nepal. We were in a circle And that centerpiece was the fire with incense. And then we would offer up some rice. We would, so there was fire, there was water, because we would throw the water and the rice for earth. And we would actually offer up some food, because we're offering it up to our higher self. We're offering it up to the soul self, the spirit that we really are. And if we've been in this world together, you may have heard me talk about the 5 layers of the self. And I just want to remind you that when we are doing any ritual, we're not honoring the statue per se. We're not saying, the statue, I bow to you because you're better than me. No, we're actually honoring who we really are. We're honoring that we are both the human self and we are the soul self. We are all of these layers. And these statues, these elements, these crystals, these flowers, these symbols of success, they just help us to remember who we really are as a whole. So I just want that to be clear. We're not bowing down to something outside of us. We're honoring who we are. And that's what we were doing here in this scenario. So let us plant the feet in the earth. Roll the shoulders up and back. Yes. And then close your eyes. And notice how you feel in this moment now. 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 Recognize that you are not in the past. You are not in the future. And you are right here, right now. And notice if there is any tension on your face or in your body, that you can give permission to relax right now. And allow your face to drop, like the tongue can rest at the base of the mouth. Maybe there's more space between the eyebrows. Maybe the shoulder blades hug the heart a little bit more, so they drop down. And you get to feel the heart beating. That which has your human self be present in this body, be present in this life, at this time in your life. And go ahead and feel the soles of your feet right now. Let yourself really anchor into the humanness that you are. Anchoring deep into the soles of the feet, feeling as if you were one with the flowers, with the crystals, with the fireball at the middle center of the earth, and all the roots that are intertwined deep inside the earth. Imagine the big jigsaw puzzle of roots. And here you are, walking above them, among them. Take this time to celebrate and honor your human self. If you visualize, now feel free to breathe longer, slower breaths. As you dial in the vision of what it was like last year at this time, just before the new year, last year. And maybe your human self has memories. We're not wanting to judge it or negate it or negotiate with it. We just want to see it. And in your vision, as we move through the year, let yourself see people see physical, geographical locations. Let yourself see how you were dressed, how you moved through life, your beliefs, your thoughts, your choices. So you can go and tune into the year month by month or quarter by quarter. I'm going to put some music and let you be in a reminiscing of the year. You can go at this in your own pace. Let your spirit guide you to what you need to see or hear or remember. And are you willing to believe that or trust that whatever you get shown is perfect? So let yourself be with 2023. J is a sign of celebration, of honoring, and Ma is mother, is the all-knowing. So let yourself be in the state, let your vision, your intuition show you any moments of 2023 in any order. Find a smile in your body, on your face. You lived this life. Even when you felt sad or worryful or doubtful, you lived through it. Deeper, lower. And see the expansion that your human self went through. Feel in your body the difference, the shifts that you created, the shifts that you allowed. Maybe notice some softness, lightness in your essence and your being. Maybe there is less tension in your physical body. Notice the quality quality of your thoughts and how those may have shifted. Breathe. Can you bring in some grace for your parts of you who felt strongly? The parts of you that doubted, parts of you that worried, thoughts of you that attached to different things, different desired outcomes, different problems. And can you honor that part of you well? Can you now imagine that the awareness and connection that you had to your soul self last year at this time, and see the depth and connection that you have with your spirit right now? Notice how much more bright. Notice how much more light there is. Notice how much wider the door has opened for you to really be present with your whole self. Be with that right now. And breathe. Narrowing your vision, and you're feeling now to the present moment. Feeling your body in this chair, in this space physically right now. And feeling your body breathe. The belly and the chest rising and falling. Feel the breath moving in and out through your nostrils. Come back to the now. Honor who you are right now. All of you. Breathe deeper. Soak it all in. Breathe a little bit more. Feeling your heartbeat. And then bringing the palms together at the heart. And then rubbing the palms together. And placing the hands to cover the face over the eyes. And then blink open the eyes behind the palms. And release the hands down, and take a moment to write down anything you want to write. Whether it's memories, whether it's awarenesses, whether it's celebrations. Just write anything down that you want, and share anything that you want to share about this in the chat. one thing in Nepal that they do is they don't blow candles with their mouth. They do like this over a candle so that it doesn't go without the mouth. For them, it has another meaning, but just so you know. You're welcome. Hey, so beautiful. Amazing. Let us go into, I hope that Allison is okay. Was there any resistance that you felt or anything blocking any visions or any memories? No, not for you, Paula. Oh, you saw possibilities in your business. Yay. Great. Okay. Let's go to this. I will share my screen. Let me know what it looks like. If I'm sharing my screen, do you also see the me and the altar, or you see just my screen share?
I can see your screen large and you and the altar in the gallery to the side.
Okay, thank you. Great. So we're just going to quickly glance, since we're in a nice honoring energy, we're going to quickly glance at what A Course in Miracles says about the ego. Because when we want to trust more, trust is an ego thing. So we're going to, this may be like a bomb that I'm dropping, but let's explore and let's just be curious together, okay? So A Course in Miracles says that the ego is the mind's belief that it is completely on its own, meaning that the ego is the part of us that doubts, therefore it's the part of us that trusts, okay? The ego is not the part of us who knows. You know, when we say, oh, I knew everything's going to be okay, you know, that part of like, oh, I know it's okay, like the intuitiveness. That's not the ego that knows. It's the soul self. The Course in Miracles calls this the spirit, that our spirit knows. A Course in Miracles says that the ego would be swept away in the presence of true knowledge of what we are, of who we are. So the ego doesn't trust or doesn't really know because it would not exist if it did. And the ego cannot survive without any judgment. So what we're introducing is that spirit is immortal. The spirit never dies. It's a constant state. Because it's a constant state, the spirit knows and has a level of knowing of who we really are that is beyond what the ego or the mind can really conceive. So remember this, the energy frequency scale. We're going to play with that in introducing the different states of trust. And I'm introducing this to help you recognize that there is not one wrong way. There's not one wrong state of trust. They're all human. They're all ego-based, and they're okay. And how we get to arrive at a spirit knowing of our truth. For example, if you look at these different emotions on the energy frequency scale, maybe the ego will say, well, guilt is wrong. Like we shouldn't have guilt. We shouldn't be angry. We shouldn't have shame. So they're bad. They're actually just different energy frequencies. It's like if we look at the altar right now and we see that citrine and we see the amethyst, they're two different crystals. They are different shapes. Not one is better than the other. Not one is wrong versus the other. Same with the types of flowers. They're all different. They smell different. They have different colors, but not one of them is wrong. This is what we're introducing with the energy frequency scale and with the different states of trust. And when I say we, it's just because it's not just it's not my ego. This is just like part of, well, the energy frequency scale is, oh, my book's not there. Dr. David Hawkins, and the states of trust were just channeled. So it's not just me. So let's go gently into it. What came to me as a visual was kind of like a magic wand. So I thought, let's play with this visual. You can draw it out too if you want. But it's a magic wand with two sides of a sparkly end. So I like the visual. So in here, we're going to imagine that the lower part of the magic wand is closer to that contraction zone of disconnection. Again, not that it's wrong. We're just going to use the same kind of raising of the energy frequency in the raising of the states of trust, okay? So the first part, and I'm going to also use an analogy that came to me about traveling so that we can kind of understand where we're at. We could say that the first state of trust is ignorance, a little bit like when Shiva here is stepping on ignorance. It's not very clear, but it's a little, they call it a dwarf, which there's probably a better term for it. So since we're just together, so he's stepping on ignorance. Shiva is stepping on ignorance, and ignorance is still kind of a place of bliss. I don't know about you, but I found myself sometimes wishing I was ignorant, because once you know, right, you're like, oh frig. Oh frig. So ignorance is a little bit like when you're traveling and you're going to an all-inclusive resort. You do squat, right? You do nothing. You go to the beach, you lie on the beach. Oh, you feel like having a cocktail. You go have a cocktail. Your brain, you can shut it off if you want. You could put your phone in a bag in the closet in the safe and never see it for a whole week. Who's done that before? I've totally done that before. Yeah. So as I was like tuning into this, I thought, that's kind of like it. Like, let's imagine that we're at the resort for a week. Sometimes that's how I feel when I'm in my period. I don't want to do squat. And I'm like at this resort. So in that state of like, we're just, without judging, calling it ignorance of us in the states of trust, I'm not going to go manifest my next house purchase from a state of being at the resort. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to chill and let myself bleed. I'm in my period. I'm going to bleed. It's like the inner winter type of allowing what is, turning the brain off, not having any responsibilities. So I'm not going to create responsibilities from that place. Does that make sense? Okay. The second state of trust is doubt. Again, the ego is the one who doubts. Therefore, it's a human thing. Doubt for me is very active mind, ego mind, taken on the evidence of the past, wrapped up in a present and thrown into the future. That's like anxiety or doubt, because it's not proof of what is now. It's taking proof of the past and thinking about the what ifs. And that is like going on a sightseeing trip. Imagine yourself, whatever latest city you visited, imagine that you have a map and you go through the city knowing, oh, I'm going to walk to this monument. It's on the map, so it's going to be there. You have that sense of security and certainty that where you're going to go, the thing's going to be there. So in sightseeing, nothing else is possible, really. It's like you're following the map, and that's the only way. Hence, the state of doubt, the state of just the status quo, because the past tells us it's not possible to go higher. It's not possible to do better. Doubt tells us the only way to success is based on what I've seen in the past. Hence, I'm going to follow the exact roadmap in this sightseeing tour. And that's just what I'm going to go with. There's no room for a different monument. There's no room for a different build because the old town has all their monuments already. There's no more room. Okay, so does that make sense? Yeah. So when we're on a sightseeing, let's say that your state of trust is you're on the sightseeing tour, you just feel very comfortable with what is, right? You feel comfortable with what was already planned. I have outlined some examples here, and I just want to make sure that I share them. Yeah, in this sightseeing, there may be a little bit of fear to step outside of the lines. It's like you're drawing just inside the lines, just because it's comfortable. Okay, thanks, Sarah. So this is based on certainty. Doubt only comes when there's no certainty. So when you're here, you might sign up to a new art class. You know you're going to get the tools. So you don't know what you're going to paint, but you know you're going to paint. So when you're in a state of being on a sightseeing trip, again, you may not be mapping out a new map of what you want with your life. That's probably not when you will set the best intentions for yourself. That might be where you remember what worked for you, and you can follow the path of what has worked for you in your life. So in this state, you might remember, oh, right, I can go back to what worked. I have a map for that. And that will take you to the next state of trust, which is belief. So notice how we're rising, like from ignorance, that would probably be, around the shame, the guilt, the indifference. And then we're rising slowly towards the zone of connection where courage is. And in belief, again, belief happens in the human ego mind, because belief is not something that the soul needs. The soul knows. Belief is like that trekking trip. What did I write? Did I write hiking? Yeah. Or tramping, as they call it in New Zealand. So you're tramping up a mountain and you are believing that you're going to get up there. You're going to get up there. You're going to see the view. You're going to have a bit more perspective. You're believing in your ability to move your body. You're believing in the strength of your legs. You're believing in the what's possible. Because from doubt, from the sightseer, you were able to go, ooh, I can get myself back into the groove of what worked, because I have certainty based on, I have certainty that I'm breathing. Well, let me breathe deeper. And that has you raise your energy frequency level, has you raise your state of trust to the belief, where now you can go, oh, okay, I get to have that new perspective now. I'm on the top of the mountain. I have a perspective of where I went, of where I came from. I have perspective of what my body is capable of. I can create new thoughts. So from a place of belief, that is where you can probably make a vision board, because you're introducing desire. There's desire, there's expansion a little bit more. Again, all these states are not bad. They just are for different reasons. This is a little bit like the springtime, because just before you can take all the actions of the summer, like the inner summer ovulatory phase, for example, well, you're in the belief, you're gearing yourself up, you're packing the car, okay, you're packing your backpack, and you're going on this trip. Like you're almost, the car's almost on, okay? So that's kind of what we're building up to. The last state of trust is trust, okay? And trust is like the ashram retreat type of experience. Again, it doesn't make it better. It's different. Because when you get to an ashram or a retreat, now you're not looking outside of where you came from and how your body responded to the hike. You're not necessarily looking at the certainty you needed or the time when your brain was shut off. It's like you're evolving in your state of humanness, and now you're tuning in. Now you get to trust that you are all of this, and that you get to utilize the power of the spirit. So when you're at the ashram or in the retreat, you're like, Bertha, you were on one recently. Magic happens. That's when you wave them. The wand doesn't have to be waved much because you're exploring, you're being curious within, curious with the subtle, curious about who you really are. Here, you can probably manifest whatever you want. This is when the human feels on fire, probably, to do anything and doesn't need much proof and can probably jump off or out of their comfort zone. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, when I was at the ashram in Nepal, I was totally out of my comfort zone, sleeping on a rock hard bed, stuck up against the boys' bathroom, and having to wake up in silence with the sun and going to bed in silence, as the moon was rising. It was totally out of my comfort zone. And there, things just happen. It's like an allowing state. It's unfurling. The flowers are unfurling without us doing anything. Do you want to share anything, Bertha?
Well, as you're speaking about this just reminds me of being in Hawaii, and I definitely was out of my comfort zone, especially because we were kind of just like out in the middle of nowhere in the Big Island, and the moon was like literally it for us. And just like the whole environment of like, where at least where I was, being in this little cabin with like just these mango trees and grass, tall grass around, and realizing that like all the other things that I was worried about didn't matter. Like I could let all that go so that I could just, like whatever came at the time and be present to it, like open to receiving, like having all the other things happening around allowed me to just be like, you know what? There's all these things that I can't control, and I'm just gonna be okay with it, and I'm here to receive. So that's really what I'm getting from this share, this part of what you're talking about.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly that. It's that open palm trusting energy here, receiving energy, because you have no choice but to receive in that state. It's almost like it's not forced on you. The decision to go there was made. And once you're there, it's like, I'm open to all of it. Paula, did you want to say something? Okay. In these states of trust, those are the human, and we need the human, because otherwise we wouldn't be here, and that would suck. So we are human. The spirit, our soul self, has the knowing that it is safe and held, the knowing that it is worthy, the knowing that it belongs, the knowing that everything happens for us. There's a knowing. It's beyond belief and trust. It's something that can't be calculated. It's something that it's spiritual sight. It's beyond the eyes of the human. Knowing is like the airplane view. You're going on all these trips, but you're in the airplane. And you're seeing from a place you've never seen before. There's a way bigger perspective, and there's no pressure. You're being led, you're being flown to the certain destination. And that's what knowing does. When we're knowing, we are attracting miracles. So to recap, the human self has the states of trust, and the soul self has the knowing. In other words, this could be alignment. You could say, oh yeah, my knowing is alignment. Whatever. PS, like anytime I use these words, if they don't resonate with you, change them. Okay. We're going to work on your trust recipe so that you can have your own magic wand of what it's like to create the life that you want. Whether you want to manifest a new career, a new client, a new more money, a different relationship, whether you want to manifest sleeping better, okay? You get to use this, your recipe, to tune into where you get to go. Do you have any questions before we go there? Okay. We're going to reverse this. So we're going to start with the lack of trust recipe. Sometimes our brain likes to work in reverse. So looking at the different states of trust, I'm just going to put that back. Where do you want to be? Can you like write these down on your journal or on your piece of paper? Our number one in our recipe will be, where do you want to be? You can use the travel term. You can use the other terms. Where do you want to be? And maybe it has a percentage. Maybe you're like, I want to be 25% here, 50% there. Just notice where you want to be. Yeah. And there are some stages of life where we might want to be in the resort, like at the resort the whole time, and that's okay. Like it could totally be it. You know, maybe maybe that's how you get to create your life now, like in quarters. Who knows? They all contribute to each other. Like if that's another thing, if one of these weren't here, it's like the battery is leaking. It's like there's something, it wouldn't work. They're all contributing. Okay. So acknowledging what state you want to be in. This isn't the state of trust that you're in right now. It's the one you want to be in. You can also say right now, like right now, I want to be in, instead of like a general term. Then plus the second piece is, what usual habits keep you misaligned? I'll give you examples. What usual habits keep you misaligned? For example, if you're so busy all the time, you know, you're misaligned because there's not enough time. There's so much to do. You're busy all the time. Your to-do list is never ending. Maybe the habits that keep you misaligned is that you say yes to things and people whom you don't want to say yes to. Maybe you're stuck overthinking often. You're lying in bed and you can't go to sleep and you're overthinking. Maybe that is like not having you feeling aligned at all. Maybe you're sad and you're bashing on yourself and you're blaming yourself. What are habits, things you do, things you think, things you choose that keep you misaligned? In other words, like you could also decide, like, what is alignment to me? Is alignment feeling free and joyful? So any habits that would have you not feel that. Do you have any questions about that? The third, so plus, what's the thought that's playing on repeat about where you're at, about where your business is at, about the habits that are keeping you misaligned, about the state of trust you want to be in that you're not in? Like, what's the thought that's playing on repeat? In other words, what's the story that you're saying, the judgment? You know, it can also be very simple, like it's hard. It's not working. I need to do something else. There's something more I need to do. I'm not doing it right. I need to figure it out. Why don't I have the answer? Where do I have to go? What's my next step? On repeat. As we're acknowledging this, let's just recognize that we're acknowledging that this is just part of our human self that probably keeps us in the doubt. Ignorance could also be like actually ignoring your pure potential. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So we might always have a part of us that's ignorant. So we just don't know it all. And that's just very, I mean, our human doesn't know it all. Let me know when you feel like you've completed this lack of trust recipe. Shall we move on? Yeah. Okay. So your trust recipe, first step, acknowledging your right now state of trust. So if we go back, if we decide on like right now, where do you feel you are most in right now? Okay. And so write that down. Acknowledging your right now state of trust. And choosing your desired experience of it. That's the first step. Like, let's say you're in belief and you're acknowledging it, and your desired experience of it is to let yourself step closer to receiving and doing less. Maybe your desired experience of it is to appreciate the uprising of your energy. Maybe it's to, as you're in belief, if you're acknowledging your right now state of trust that is belief, and you're wanting to hike up that mountain, create a project, be with a goal, maybe you want to celebrate it. So acknowledging your right now state of trust and choosing your desired experience of it. In other words, what do you want to do about it? Do you want to stay here, which you can? Or do you want to rise to take another action? You're welcome, Paula. See you soon. Then, are we ready for number 2? Okay. So once you've acknowledged where you're at, that's kind of like releasing the pressure a little bit. And then we want you to tune into the opposite of what is keeping you misaligned. So if what's keeping you misaligned is you're being busy all the time, then maybe your alignment action is slowing down. If you say yes to others a lot, maybe your aligned action is to say yes to you, or say no to one thing on your list. If you're misaligned because you are stuck in overthinking and you're just often in your head, maybe what brings you back to alignment is getting into your heart, or in other words, being in the present moment. If you are sad and bashing on yourself, and that self-sabotage keeps you misaligned, maybe what brings you in alignment is find one thing that's working in your life. Hence the word positivity. So your alignment actions can be, like I put the example, pause or slow down, say no to something or say yes to yourself, presence, or positivity. And when we're in this trust recipe, so the first part was acknowledging where you're at and like choosing what you want to do about it, how you want to be with it. Plus, so then the aligned action doesn't mean, okay, you have to pause right now. It is, although it can, the question you can ask yourself in this part of the recipe is, what would have me choose to pause, to slow down, to say yes to me, to be present? What would get me closer to it? What would have me choose this? And this can look like, I'm just going to take a breath and decide after. That can look like, oh, I get to shift my thought, my belief. What would get you closer to saying no to something? Maybe it's looking at your to-do list so that you can make the choice after. Does this make sense so far? Okay, thank you. The third and last part of the recipe, number 3, if you remember the lack of trust recipe at number 3 was, what's the thought that's playing on repeat about you or your success or your alignment or your worthiness? And now it's, what belief about your soul self do you choose? What belief about your truth, about who you really are, do you want to remember here? Shall I give you some examples? So whenever I put on this ring, I'm just going to show you here. Every time I put on this ring, I tell myself I honor my richness. Every time I put on this ring, I tell myself I am a miracle worker. When I put on this ring, I remember that everything's always working out. When I put on this ring, I tell myself I'm so deeply loved. These are my ways, because I put them all the time, every day. So I remember the truth of who I am in these ways, using affirmations, using statements, and a physical, tangible thing. It can be a passage from a book that you read, like at any time. You could be like, oh, oops. Whenever you're doubting or you're in a state of trust that you're wanting something, you're wanting to manifest something, you want to raise your awareness from your human self to your soul self. And maybe you choose a book that you always go to. Maybe it's a one-liner that you repeat, like, love created me as itself. I cannot fail. That is one I use a lot. But you have some words, you have some sentences that you use that resonate with you. What are those? What are beliefs about who you are that you can put in here in your recipe? I'd be curious to know what's coming up for you, and what does your recipe look like now? Can you simplify it? Can there be one word each? So like, it could be, number 1 could be presence, presencing who you are, what's going on, presencing what's present, what's there. Number 2 could be positivity. Number 3 could be love. It can be one sentence each too. You decide what resonates with you. And you, please, you can hop off mute if you want.
I'll share. Well, I got after like going through what I wrote down, I put for my sentence is bridge to courage.
Mm, cool. Thank you. What is your recipe as it is now? What's like number 1 and number 2?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm like, I think well, I, from what I just wrote down a bunch of different things, but from my number 1 part was belief was the area where I'm starting from. And then on my number 2, what I got from that part, um, it's like action, like being like taking action. And also being still. So that one's a little because I'm a doer, like I like to do, but also in this sense, it's more like sometimes I need to be still in order to listen in and up to know what the next action is instead of just like taking any action because I just need to do. And
Yes.
and that's how in the last part I got like bridge to courage because like doing all these the 1 and 2 to get to 3, um I need to like they're part of like who I am is the bridge to many different people. I bring people together a lot is one of my gifts is connecting others and being the creator of connection. So also bringing that many people together, sometimes it takes courage or to even put myself in those different places with all the different people that I connect with.
Do you see yourself using this recipe, and when do you see yourself using it in your life?
Well, this is perfect time that we are doing this right now, especially as the year is closing up and like I see this to do it in my business and to do it like with my own self, like with my practice of like using, like one of the big reasons why I said yes to working with you is because it's like I need to come back to me so that I am able to really listen up and to listen to my soul self so that I'm able to be obedient and take the next action in my life, my personal life, and also in my career, business, to be able to create the biggest impact on my community, to be able to serve more people.
Sarah, did you have the chance to do a little bit? Do you want to share what you got? If you want. Maybe Sarah is doing the homework with her kids. Perfect. And when you're listening to the replay, I know Paula just left, we lost Allison for a moment too. And I know that all, you who are listening and watching the replay, please feel free to bring your recipe into our Soul Connector Circle. I would love to hear what it is for you. I'm going to stop the share just for a moment. And I would love to take the opportunity to read some passages of this book. And so why don't we just pick a number? Bertha, there's 365 in here. Do you want to pick a number?
Yes. So earlier when you were talking about numbers, the number 72 is what came up for me.
Okay. I don't know if Yeah, I'm just gonna read it. What do you think? Yeah, okay. Sarah, please pick a number 2. I see your recipe. I will read it right after. Pick a number between 1 and 365. So this is for us. This is just for fun. Today I claim the power of love. Let me cleave to love in moments when I am tempted by fear. May I remember that there is nothing love cannot do. There is no feeling, circumstance, situation, or relationship so filled with fear that love cannot transform it. Today, I claim the power of love. May my mind be so aligned with love that its power within me feels natural. I wield the power to work miracles with humility and grace. There is no situation my love will not transform. If I look at everyone through the eyes of forgiveness, I claim the power that love brings with it to deliver my world from fear to love. Today, I do not just believe in love, I claim its power as my own. What does that spark in you?
Well, I love that it's talking about love. And this weekend, I got to do a few meditation exercises, and one of them, the phrase that I got from my meditation was, I can love. And so, this being about love and all of that, and then also bringing it into being with others, especially like as a coach, sharing that. And also just at the last part of like,
I
there's,
claim its power as my own.
yeah, claiming that. And that's literally what I wrote for myself to begin to do that, as a takeaway from like this weekend. That was something that I'm bringing forward now in what I'm doing. So I love that. This is like totally just landing perfectly.
What about you, Sarah? What's landing for you in that? If you want to share. 9. Okay. So 59. So just a reminder, A Course in Miracles. So Marianne Williamson is one of the teachers of A Course in Miracles. She has written many books and has referenced it and taught it. And so apart from learning it directly from the resources and the books from the foundation of what's it called, of insight, just directly from A Course in Miracles, I do learn from her too. They use the word God as love. Okay. So day 59. May God use me today. Love will save the world, but only if we express it. May everything I do today be an expression of God's love. May I be a channel for love today, co-creating with God a more perfect world. With every thought of love, I create a miracle. Every time I withhold love, I deflect one. Today, may I only love. And then there's a little prayer. Dear God, use my hands and feet, my words and actions today. Use who I am and what I do to help you heal the world. Amen. Sarah, what are you getting from that? You got chills, Bertha? Yeah. Yes, Sarah, it goes well with you being a creator. This is exactly also what I was getting. So one of my yoga teachers used to say, she would go like this, and she would say, may I be an instrument. May I be an instrument. So this is what it is to be a creator, Sarah, and to let the creativity flow. And we were talking about that in our on Telegram today, right? That you get to be the creator, hence your body gets to be the vehicle. Your body gets to allow for creativity to flow. And Elizabeth Gilbert, in her book Big Magic, she also talks about creativity being something that you get to receive, and it's something that gets to be invited. And I feel like this speaks to it. Okay, the number 333 came for me. Oh gosh. I bless my loved ones who have passed beyond the veil. Today I think thoughts of love towards those who touched my life while here on earth and then continued on their journey. My family and my friends, my beloved companions, may they feel my love where they are now, and in my heart may I feel theirs. Death is but an illusion of the mortal mind, for truly life goes on forever. As the body drops, the spirit soars to new heights. Neither sickness nor death will tempt me to forget that in God there is life unending. May God fill my heart with an inner knowing that those who have left have not left at all, for they remain in his heart and mine. I feel peace as I remember them, for I know they are not gone. May they and I rest peacefully in the arms of God. I'm getting that the concept of death and ending is beautiful to bring us into this full circle of this trust call, because we cannot not trust and we cannot not know. But our human seems to believe that there is a go and no go. Our human seems to believe that there's this direction that sometimes we can be off track. And I mean, I use it all the time, the messaging, get back on track, because your human thinks we fall off track. And it can really feel like that. I'm not denying that at all. And there's no ending, there's no wrong, there is only openness and continuation. And when the human is sad and grieving, it's just anchoring us in the human experience. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to grieve. And what would life look like if we didn't believe that things ended? Are you getting anything?
Well, I just think this is perfect because the year is about to end too. And I know for me, this year has been just full of so many ups and downs, but a lot of like really awesome ups. And in a way, like I get to, like hearing this, like getting to celebrate that, and also the losses. Like I've had some loss in my family recently. And so that just reminded me of like the people that are no longer here, but having that like love, like God and it being here with me too. Like it helps me like feel like I'm celebrating that, like the closure of those experiences with people, but also like still being able to hold them here, even though they're not with us anymore, or like those experiences have already passed and the year is ending, and also and you know, you just said like things also have to end. So that, like, as much as like, you know, sometimes if there's like some rough patches and we're like, I just can't wait for the like all this to be over, and you look at it in a negative way, and there's also the celebration component to it.
Thank you. This is interesting, right? Because one of the things I did say was, what if we didn't think that things ended, but then when things feel so doubtful, shameful, like low in the energy frequency, we want it to end? Or is it, I'm just exploring, basically, or is it just a continuation, an opening, a regeneration? Thank you for this conversation. Yeah, and the year is ending. That's the thing. We are human. We're living in this world, in this flesh and bones and tangible stuff, and we get to be in it. And life and death are that circle. This is it. This is it. Oh, this is full circle. So if I show you here, you'll see it a little better. So this is like the dwarf. It's full of candle wax, but and then Shiva dancing with the wheel of life, with all the fire. And Shiva is dancing, stepping on ignorance, so stepping on the fears, on the doubts, on the human ego, and has many arms, is juggling and having fun through it all. And the wheel of life is also that cycle of what humans see as life and death, as starting and beginning. Hence, there are years. And maybe we get to redefine what that is for us moving forward, using our trust recipe for spiritual knowing and waving our magic wands of spiritual knowing, and celebrating the essence of who we really are. I celebrate you. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being here. We are at time. And so I'll do a live in our You Have It In You group to announce the little expansion that's happening in Claudia-Sam Soul Coaching at another time. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for you again, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.